When I first saw Rebel Moon Part 1 and 2, I was not impressed. And I say this as a fan of Zack Snyder and his films. I do think Zack Snyder is a great director, both in terms of visuals and story for the most part. But with Rebel Moon, it just didn't land for me. I thought that despite the good direction and strong aesthetics here and there, the film just didn't leave an impact on me firstly, but it was also accompanied by a very shallow and rushed script where I just had zero emotional investment in it, and the movie overall left no impact on me, and I saw it as complete wasted potential. It was very sad. But I still really wanted to see the director's cuts of these films, which I knew were coming out when the original cuts were released. Because if you follow Zack Snyder's career, you know that his director's cuts are big game changers for his previously released films. You look at Batman vs. Superman, which, if you don't mind the tone of the movie, really does fix all the problems of the original cut. It gives us a lot more character motivations, it really fixes the pacing, as well as giving us more looks into important subplots. And then of course you got Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is a totally different film from the one that was released theatrically that Joss Whedon directed. And I had the expectation, a reasonable expectation I think, that this director's cut of Rebel Moon would do the same thing. The core problems I had with the films before are still here, loud and clear. They are improvements, don't get me wrong, still, but I would say it elevates these films from total wasted potential to an ambitious, creative, but messy film. Let's get into why.
At least I die on the side of honor.
Is there still such a thing?
So to give you a quick recap of what the story is about for these films, the story takes place in a galaxy far, far away, if you would, where we follow a character named Korra, who's a fugitive on the run, and when her village is threatened, she travels the galaxy to find champions and heroes to team up and to defend the village from the invading empire. So think Seven Samurai or even Bug's Life. And what I liked about part one, the original cut, was really just the direction, right? I think that this film was visually strong, well directed, but totally lacking in the character development realm as well as pacing, right? You know, you see Korra bring this team together, but you don't know any of them, and the film takes no time for you to get to know them, and they're just relegated to the background, and you're just kind of jumping from planet to planet. The director's cut does not fix that issue. The pacing is still the same in that section of the film, and you don't get to know any of these champions the way you would hope to. But there are so major differences that I think really do improve this movie. Firstly, the R-rated nature of this director's cut is made abundantly clear through its violence. The violence throughout the film was very stylized, very, I think, compelling and cool to watch. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna act pretentious about it, but it also serves a dual purpose. I think it strikes a perfect balance between visually entertaining and engaging, but also in its context very disturbing, and it actually raises the stakes of the film because now the villains, the Empire, the Mother World, whatever you want to call them, in this cut, they feel like a real threat. When you see them conduct this urban warfare on an innocent populace, it's very disturbing to watch, and the film does not hold back any punches in that regard. We also get to see a lot more of this galaxy in terms of lore and culture, and to me that was probably one of the most also compelling parts of this film. We get to see a lot of their religions, very strange religions, different alien species, the history behind these civilizations, and it really does make me want to go more into this universe. It was with this cut that I got to understand, why does Zack Snyder want to make a whole franchise out of this? Why does he, like, what potential does he see in making games and books and animation of Rebel Moon? And when I watched this cut, it made sense, because Zack Snyder really did put a lot of thought and effort in trying to, like, build out this universe, the history and you know, culture and religion. And it's impressive. I was really enthralled and engaged by that. A lot of it too, between the violence and the character designs and just general mise-en-scène, it feels very bizarre in a good way, almost like the heavy metal magazines if you ever read those, but I would argue with more levity, so I think it's actually kind of an improvement on the heavy metal magazines. I think heavy metal magazines kind of sometimes lean to more trashy area, but still good though. I mean, other improvements I recall from this director's cut is that I definitely felt more invested in Korra as a main character. We get to see more of her backstory, and because of that, I just gravitated to her more this time around, as well as her romance with what's his name? I don't remember his name in the film, so I guess you can't say I'm really that invested in the villager that she falls in love with, but I certainly felt more invested than last time around, so hey, what can I say? And then we have Jimmy, the robot guardian of the Empire, who also does a heel turn and betrays the Empire and is trying to like look for purpose. And in the original cuts, I thought it was really disappointing because he's like barely in the film. And it's just like he's in as a guardian of the Empire, and the next scene he's on the other side. It was just really weird. In this film, we did see more of that transition. And it's not much, but it's meaningful. And it's really cool because it's like they're playing with the idea that this robot has a religious experience. It's not so much that he grows a conscience, it's more that he actually grows a soul and tries to find actual religious, divine meaning. And it was really interesting to watch. So, in conclusion, I think this director's cut is far from what Batman vs. Superman did, much less Zack Snyder's Justice League. The core problem of the lack of emotional investment in this team that this film hinges on, it's still present here. The planet jumping and the rushed pacing in like the middle of the film is still here. It really drags the film down. But I'd be totally lying to you if I said this film had no impact on me at all. I'd be lying to you if I said that I wasn't at all engaged or entertained by this film and that this is the worst film of the year by far. Quite the contrary, I really had fun with this movie. I was really engaged. I was totally invested in the world. The bizarre universe and the lore that Zack Snyder builds in this movie is on full display here in the most intoxicating way, but I mean that in the good way. It's a messy film, yes, and I wouldn't blame people for wanting to give this film a bad score at all. But to me, this particular cut, it's, while a messy film, it's a damn well made messy film, if you catch my drift. On top of it being very impactful, I think very ambitious, and in the best sense of the word, bizarre. Because of that, because of those elements, I want to have to give this film 4 stars out of 5. Could have been better? Absolutely. But man, I was into it.
Their wrath will be my vengeance.
Thanks for watching, guys. Expect my review of Part 2 Director's Cut this week. Let me know what you guys think. Hit the like button and subscribe. I'll see you next time.